executive session to the work session. Time, sir?
7:31.
Need a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee McGurran.
Yes.
Trustee Fisher.
Yes.
Trustee Blower.
Yes. Administrators updates.
I would just like to inform the board that a submittal was made for the one-time strategic community investment fund. The request was for $288,000 for communication radios for the police and fire departments. The town, if approved, the township would be responsible for an additional 20% to fund that particular project. And also, I'd like to inform the board that the deadline to submit for the fire chief's position was yesterday at 3:00, and we have a total of 3 candidates. So now the process will be that the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association will review the 3 candidate submittals and respond by January 3rd with the candidates they recommend to move forward with. And that's all that I have for this evening.
Is there any reason for us to be involved in any of those 3 at this point?
No.
Okay.
Anything from the administrator?
Not for me.
Thank you, Lori. Moving on to the fiscal officer's updates.
Well, a little later, for your consideration, you'll be asked to approve the 2024 operational budget. Just to remind you, back in June, we adopted a temporary budget for 24 and temporary appropriations. This is a more expanded version of that. We will not be including the 1.5 levy that's new. That's going to require amending the certificate next year. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But the adoption of the operational budget gives us a slightly broader budget than we adopted in June, and it also will be amending the temporary appropriations. Once we get through all of the first of the year, as I close the year and we have hard and fast carryover numbers, I will come to you again and ask you to adopt permanent appropriations, and that has to be done and submitted to the auditor by April 1st. So by about mid-March, we'll be talking about permanent appropriations, if not a little sooner. I can always be hopeful. So that will be coming up a little later in the meeting. I just want to take a moment at this time to congratulate Russ on his next term and his swearing in tonight for January. And I also want to thank Trustee Fisher. Thank you for stepping in, and thank you for being so conscientious and asking such great questions. It was a pleasure working with you, and I'm glad we got to know each other.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything else for the fiscal officer? Hearing none. Thank you, Julie. Expedited legislation, consider of legislation, purpose, adopt plans of operation and governance for electric and natural gas governmental aggregation. Move for the adoption of resolution number 2023-063 to adopt a plan of operation and governance for electric governmental aggregation. I need a second.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee McGurran.
Yes.
Trustee Fisher.
Yes.
Trustee Blower.
Yes. Move for the adoption of resolution number 2023-064 to adopt a plan of operation and governance for natural gas governmental aggregation. I need a second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee McGurran.
Yes.
Trustee Fisher.
Yes.
Trustee Blower.
Yes. Purpose, the 2024 appropriations budget was the sole topic of conversation at a special meeting of the board on November 28th, 2023 and November 29th, 2023. The following resolution approves projected expenditures during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024. Move for the adoption of resolution number 2023-065 to approve the expenditures during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024. I need a second.
Yeah,
Go ahead. My apologies. I need a second.
I'll second.
Discussion? I had one point of interest on the questionnaire. I had to, at that point, vote no for the expenditure of 2 used police cruisers purchased from the city of Trenton, only because at the budget hearing, I asked for mileage, hours, and year, and the chief was unable to provide that information on that evening. Since then, he has provided that information, and I have spoken to the police chief of Trenton, and he is able to provide any and all service being done to both those cruisers, being a 2014 with 53,000 miles and a 2016 with under 100. I can't give up. I don't have that, remember that number right offhand, but he can.
42.
I'm sorry?
88,842.
Okay, 88,000. But he said, as far as he knows, prior to his employment, neither one of those cruisers have been crashed, but he will talk with his maintenance guy to confirm that. They will not be available until late March, around March, due to the fact that City of Trenton usually gets rid of their old gear just the way we do on govdeals.com, and that they have to do they're not trustees, are they council for Trenton? The council has to do a third reading to approve the sale of those 2 cruisers. And that third reading will be after the first of the year. That's all I have on that. So now we'll move on for that.
I seconded that.
It was seconded, and roll call, please.
Trustee McGurran.
Yes.
Trustee Fisher.
Yes.
Trustee Blower.
Yes. Purpose. During the December 7th, 2023 Board of Trustees meeting, Administrator Kyle announced a service rate increase for IT contractor Mark Smith, effective January 1st, 2024. The following resolution accepts the service rates increase. Move for the adoption of Resolution 2023-066 to amend the Ross Township Board of Trustee Resolution Number 2018-059, which enters into a professional service agreement with Mark Smith for monitoring and troubleshooting the township's computer network, and authorizing the township administrator to execute the amendment agreement. I need a second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee McGurran.
Yes.
Trustee Fisher.
Yes.
Trustee Blower.
Yes. Purpose. Hire full-time police officer Chandra. Is that how you pronounce your first name? Chandra Stilts. Move for the adoption of motion number 23-182 to hire Chandra Stilts into the position of full-time police officer at a rate of $28.12 per hour, effective date to be determined. This employment is subject to the completion of all pre-employment testing and is in accordance with the current staffing summary and pay rate resolution. Need a second.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee McGurran.
Yes.
Trustee Fisher.
Yes.
Trustee Blower.
Yes. Discussion items. Continuing a discussion on potential projects for the Butler County Board of Commissioners, local community allocation of ARPA and SLFRF funding. Is that to you, Lori?
I have provided to the board really a template for the proposal. We were not given one by the county, so it's just something for you to work off of. As a reminder, they have requested the proposals by the end of this year, no later than the end of January for next year. So I've provided 2 email communications from the county regarding their $150,000 opportunity. And they basically said, just share the who, what, when, where, and why of your proposed project. So in the template that I created, I tried to first identify the underserved that the project would serve, the final rule eligibility use, obviously the recipient of the funding, and then I just plugged in some items related from this specific requests that both entities provided. So once again, this needs to be decided preferably tonight, and if not, one of your 2 meetings in January. I would recommend sooner rather than later, because if we submit these and for whatever reason the county doesn't like them, we would have time to modify.
Do the recipients of the funding, they have the ability, so let's say we're going to award these as designated and they're going to spend a little less in one bucket, they would have the ability to, they're not tied to these exact numbers. They're just tied to the bottom line. They have this amount of money to spend.
I would assume that that would be up to us.
That would be up to, okay, I would be.
And we are advancing the money. It's not that they are spending and then getting reimbursed.
We're going to have to work out a scenario. We talked about briefly with both organizations that it might be on a reimbursement basis, that they would submit receipts, whether we do that, I would think monthly at the late. I mean, that would give them an infusion of, for an actual item, let's say the refrigerator, if she has a number, we could advance that so she could purchase it. But I would envision it being more of a monthly or biweekly submittal, and then we would just cut checks to them. So the money's gone.
There's nothing in the
No,
ARPA that said that it had to be done one way or the other.
no, we would have to put some policies in place on that.
So that money gets in our bucket,
Yeah.
to use your term. and then-
Correct. Once we submit this to the county and they look at it and say, this ticks all our boxes, they give us the 150,000, we'll put it in an ARPA account, and then we will just keep track of
Good.
what we're dispersing.
Are you both able to or willing to move forward with this evening on Frontier Wellness and Ross Morgan Ministries? I am also, and I am in agreement. Are we able to just do an agreement, or do we need a resolution?
The county will provide a resolution. First, I'll submit as she says, the who, what, when, where, and why. And then I think they will help us. But yes, there will be a resolution that we enter into with the county, and it will be a very formal
Okay,
process.
so we're in agreement to go ahead and move forward with these two.
Okay.
Thank you for all the time you put into working on this.
You're welcome.
You know, it's going to mean a lot to many. Streetlight conversion to LED. Thank you. Have a good evening. Merry Christmas.
You too, you too.
We spoke about this at the last meeting in a little bit. A couple years back under Trustee Wilsey and Trustee Yordy, the board started looking into the streetlights the township was being billed for. And since that time, incandescent have changed over to light emitting diodes. And we were presented a cost of changing all the streetlights that the township pays for over to LED, which would be option A, lump sum payment of $20,375.89. At this time, I don't feel they all need to be replaced at this time. It is a cost of saving because the LED light uses less kilowatt hours than an incandescent bulb. But right now, the big savings is not there. But I think a good idea would be to change them over to LED as they burn out, or the light sensor the mechanics need to be changed over, and or if we lose a light that we take care of due to a traffic crash or a weather-related pole breakage. And at that time, I don't know how we get with Duke Energy that they would let us know, hey, we've had a pole break on Cincinnati Brookfield. Jennifer, are you wanting to change that over LED? I don't know how we would even work with somebody from Duke that they would let us know that, or would we just say if you ever have to replace a light in Ross Township due to any of the above, just convert that over to LED?
I can reach out to our
What they have to say?
find out.
Okay.
If there is a pole breakage and it does have to be replaced, there's a cost, there's an associated cost with incandescent, right? Is it just an upgraded cost that we would pay? I mean, at that point, there'd be an insurance claim. I mean, insurance would be paying for something.
Could be, yeah, from the crash, yes.
Right. So can we roll that into the, if it's an insurance thing, can we roll that cost into the insurance and say, well, we've already got a resolution to pay or to upgrade all of our LED lights. Now we want LED for that? Make somebody else pay for it?
Good question.
And I don't think we should just do it all. I think through attrition.
I don't either.
Through attrition, we can do it and not be this $20,000 lump sum thing.
And there is a possibility, they may be to the point now where if there is damage to a pole, weather related or a car crash,
Yeah.
that you don't have an option, it's going
It's
LED.
going LED. So why should we have to pay, for it?
Correct.
Okay.
In our current, the number here, the 129.43, that's the monthly charge. Currently, number of lights, ongoing monthly charges for energy and maintenance. Number of lights, 33, energy and maintenance, 129.43. Does that sound correct?
No, it doesn't.
You have an idea of what we pay now?
No, I'd have to go pull the street light bill.
Is that what raised? That was the sirens.
That was the sirens.
Okay. Increase.
And I think my point just going forward would be if we could see the numbers of how much we're paying now versus how much we would be paying with LEDs and just get kind of a break even point on when does it make sense to do that?
Why do I kind of feel like when Trustee Wilsey initially brought this forward, it was kind of like an all or nothing?
Oh.
Or am I hallucinating that? I vaguely remember the conversation. We talked about using ARPA monies. We had talked about a lot of things, but I vaguely remember it was like they just can't do it randomly. I don't know. I might
Okay.
not be remembering that correctly.
But I think one piece of information going forward would just be what the current cost would be per LED versus what we're paying.
All right, I'll have that.
I mean,
And
if it's a big difference or a small difference, that can play into the decision, right?
I'll have
and the savings as well. The savings between the two.
Right.
Why would they make us pay? Why would it be an all or nothing thing?
I don't know.
I don't,
Maybe I'm not remembering that correctly.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't know why Duke would force to say, oh, well, it's all or nothing.
I don't even remember discussing about doing it any other way than all at the same time, because we were considering using
Right, maybe
ARPA.
that's what I'm remembering.
Different wattages,
Yeah.
50 all the way to 220, where you were saying that it didn't expand out on the other side of the street.
Seem like that. We also need to probably, when we're asking them for more information, get the list of locations again and just eyeball those for the benefit of the board. When we looked at this several years ago, we discovered that we were paying for lights that weren't even in the township, and that has all been credited back to us and resolved. And the number of streetlights looks correct. So, but we probably, to be prudent, should just eyeball those occasionally and make sure that nothing's changed and that we're still paying for the lights in the township. So, but I will gather the costs and bring that to the next meeting.
And if they say we have to do it all or nothing, I'd want to know why is it?
Yeah,
Is it because there's a light difference because you're driving a yellowish type light and then you drive into a bright white light and it kind of,
and maybe I'm just remembering that we talked about doing it collectively because we had the ARPA money.
that would make sense.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Is there any further discussion to come before the board?
I would like to say thank you to the board, first of all, to Keith. thank you for your confidence in me
Yes, sir.
to bring me to the board almost a year ago. I've learned a tremendous amount, and I appreciate,
It's been a pleasure having you.
Appreciate it.
And sharing your wisdom along the way.
absolutely. And to Russ, thank you. I know we both started, we had to learn a lot quick.
A lot more to learn.
Yeah, so, thank you for, your support.
And yours as well.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Your, balanced approach to things
Appreciate
and, always putting community first.
Our
So
ongoing friendship as well.
absolutely. And to women at the end, Julie and Lori, thank you so much for your support, your patience with me over the last year. I've learned a tremendous amount. We had some fun along the way, right? But what you guys do for the township is tremendous. I don't think most people know what you put into your day, every day for this township. So I got to see a behind the scenes look at what you guys do, and the township should be proud, and I am proud of what you guys do for us. So keep up the good work. Learn a lot.
Thank you.
And to all the departments. I mean, police, fire, maintenance, the township is so lucky to have who we have. It's top shelf from every full-time, part-time, every department. We're really lucky to have who we do at this township. So I'm lucky to be a part of it. And I feel blessed that I could be up here for a while. And, I met a lot of people and learned a lot of things along the way. So thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Move for the adoption of motion number 23-183 to adjourn the meeting. I need a second.
I'll second.
Discussion? Our next meeting will be January 4th, 2024 at 6 p.m. here at the Ross Government Center. To those in attendance and those at home, the board would like to wish you a Merry Christmas and a safe New Year. And we'll see you back here on January 4th.
Roll call.
Oh, yes.
Adjournment?
Roll call.
Trustee McGurran.
Yes.
Trustee Fisher.
Yes.
Trustee Blower.
Yes.